Whatever.
If you were anything like my children when you were little, you had a favorite picture book that you wanted your parents to read to you at bedtime. In fact, it may have been the only book that you wanted read to you at bedtime. Every bedtime. Your parents probably read that book to you so many times that they didn't even need to look at the words to tell the story after a while. What was it that made that book so captivating? Was it the story, the characters, the pictures? It was probably some combination of all those things that came together to create the magic that became your favorite book. Some children's books are collaborations between an author and an illustrator. Other times, the author and illustrator are the same person. In this video, though, we're going to focus on the illustrator's role in the creation of books that capture our fancy. Some children's books become classics, yet others are easily forgotten. What does it take for an illustrator to make a picture book that is truly memorable and loved by kids everywhere? The first thing a successful storybook must do is capture our attention. Artists do this by manipulating the colors, style, and compositions of their illustrations. They must balance the familiar with the unique so that children can experience both comfort and surprise. A good children's book must also be delightful. Using humor or clever ways to depict characters or scenes in a picture book goes a long way into making the book charming, amusing, and enchanting. Of course, the illustrations contribute a great deal to the storytelling. A young child who is not yet able to read can still follow the story on their own through the pictures. The illustrations are their connections to the words that they may just be learning. If the illustrations don't tell a visual story to accompany the words, the story will not have the same impact as the words alone. And finally, the story must teach something about the world. Whether that is a story about human emotions, moral values, or cultural beliefs, the illustrations must reinforce the theme of the book. There are many amazing children's book illustrators, but let's take a look at just 6 who use different styles and techniques in their illustration. Illustrator Jane Manning's media of choice is watercolor. This gives her illustrations a delicate look. She often collaborates with other authors on books that have a humorous title and somewhat ornery characters. Kadir Nelson is an African-American illustrator whose illustrations often depict African-American experience and history. Sometimes, though, the characters in his books are just doing normal kid stuff. Kadir's work addresses the problem in the publishing world of a lack of books where children of color are doing ordinary things. Carle's style is easily recognizable. He uses a collage technique for his illustrations. He uses pieces of brightly colored paper to form his compositions. He makes his characters, which are often animals or insects, seem friendly and engaging. When Grace Lynn got laid off from her job as a giftware designer, she decided to pursue her dream of illustrating children's books. Although she was born in the U.S., her parents were immigrants from Taiwan. Her books often use stories about Taiwanese traditions as their subject. Chris Van Alsberg is another illustrator with a distinctive style. He only uses black and white in his drawings. Chris's work is interesting as his pictures often show strange scenes and are accompanied only by captions in his books. This leaves the reader to use their imaginations to create the story of the book. While studying at Yale, Paul Zelinsky took a class taught by Maurice Sendak, the author of Where the Wild Things Are. It was then that he was inspired to become an illustrator. His books often retell classic fairy tales. Children can spend hours exploring the details in his meticulous illustrations. All these illustrators are masters of creating books that attract our attention, are delightful, tell a compelling story, and teach children something about life.